Hello everybody, welcome back to our second video. This is AreoDataSpace, and so today, by looking at the title, we're going to be talking about functions. Functions are simply let's look at functions taking an input, okay, then it goes through the function, right, and then it gives an output. So in other words, if we supplement an x, right, we'll get a certain y. We'll get a y. So if we put a certain x with our function, we'll get a y to make our graph and relate those and relate the functions. So yeah. So now let's talk about types of functions. So there's really mainly two: linear and quadratic. Let's talk about linear functions. So let's just say we have a function of 2x plus 3. This is our function, correct? So now all we have to do, just supplement our and so now all we have to do is have to make up x's to relate a graph. You can put as much as you want. The more the better, but I'm just doing 2 for now. So now let's take a look. So our function, right? So our function for -2 will turn into this. Look, knowing our function is 2x plus 3, right? Knowing that our function is 2x plus 3, we'll get -2. 1 second. Sorry, I did not mean to do it. Not -2. We would get 2, then -2 plus 3. We'll supplement this. The function is right here. This is that 2x plus 3 is our function. So we just put the values in. This turns into -4. So now our thing turns out to be 1, right? Let's just take a look at times. Well, -4 plus 3 is -1. Yep, -1. So it equals -1. So that means if we put -2 as our x in our function, we'll get -1 as our answer. So now we can just do the same for -1, right? We can make our function. We'll turn it into what we have, 2x plus 3. It turns into that plus 3 equals -2 plus 3 is 1. 0 is really simple. 0, so it'd just be 3. 1 will be 5, and then will be 7. So we can check our work. This is no rate because this will just cancel out because we can't multiply. If we multiply 0, we'll automatically get 0. For 5, we can just simply do 2, 1 plus 3, which equals 5. This we can do 2, 7 plus 3, right? Oh, whoops, no. 1 second. You can put 2, 2, which then equals 7, right? So now, this right here is called a linear function, and I'll tell you why. So if we plot our thing, x, and then fx, because this is our output, we would get something like, we'll get something such as like this, right? Let me just make sure I'm doing this right. Okay, yeah. We would get a linear line. So I'm thinking maybe something like this. I might be mistaken. All that you need to know is that whatever line you'll get, this is linear. So now let's talk about quadratic functions. Quadratic functions are basically, if you have, let's just say, our fx, and our fx, let's say, is x squared. Okay? So then our function equals x squared. A quadratic is basically if you have a square. Or if we feel like a power, right? A square. In our case, we have a square. We have a x to the power of 2, right? So x times x. Now what this means, even if we have a negative, if we have a negative x, we will even if we have a negative x or positive x, no matter what, we will always get a positive y, because negative times a negative is a positive, correct? Yeah. So let's do our same thing right here. We have, let's put x, -2, -1, 0, 1, 2. Let's make our function right here. So now let's see. We plug it in, right? So -2 square equals 4. -1 square equals 1. 0 square equals 0. 1 square equals 1. 2 square equals 4. Now if you notice, you can see the relationship, right? 4, 1, 0, 4, 1, 4, right? Right. That means if you're just looking at this, well, this is our quadratic, because if you put this on the graph, we'll get something like this. Oh, sorry, not like that. That's really not. One second. Let me give you a minute. I need to do it. 1 second. We'll get something like this. Now, make a graph. Easy. X function right here. We'll get something more like this. And this line will be touching 0. Now, this is our function, right? And you can see that from here to here, the slope is much steeper than from here to here. Well, let's try it. If you would look, this slope is steeper than this slope, and so here. Because if you notice the difference of here to here is 3, and from here to here is 3, and you see from here to here, and here to here, it's just 1. So that's our answer right here. So now there's many functions you can do. Any function, right? You can do maybe this, or you can do really anything. You can do maybe x3 or x4, yeah. Functions are basically everything. So let's talk about maybe a little bit of a different function, you might guess. So let's say our fx, let's change the color, equals sin x. Right here. Well, this function will turn out to be something more like this. This is actually pretty cool. That's our function, right here. And you might be familiar with these, but these look like radio waves. So a function is taking an input x and turning it into an output, which is in our scenario y, right? So that's really functions right here. So pretty interesting topic. Yep. So I hope you enjoyed the video.